This is an important day. The government ran, or I ran, on building Canada strong. We received a strong mandate for that. Our signature piece of legislation was the One Canadian Economy Act, the Building Canada Act. Within that, received bipartisan support in Parliament. And this is the first step. This is the first step of putting that into action. We're starting as we mean to go on, which means engaging with First Nations. We'll be engaging with the Inuit next week, 10 days from now in Inuvik, and then the Métis, and having that engagement so that the projects, as we're building our nation, we're building all nations, building together, building in partnership. Today we'll be talking about building in partnership with First Nations, in some cases in partnership, in some cases with projects led by First Nations. Today is about the how, not the what. We're not yet at the what stage. We're not yet at the what stage of which projects and how exactly the conditions associated with those projects. But I'm very encouraged by the turnout today of elected chiefs across the country, both physically here and also virtually, obviously, in many cases very difficult circumstances with the forest fires ravaging our country, across our country, unfortunately now. And so the level of engagement, the seniority of engagement, I'm here, I'll be here all day with my ministers, and principally here to listen to about that how and that engagement. Alors en français et puis des questions. Aujourd'hui, c'est la première étape. C'est la première étape de mettre en œuvre ce projet de loi, le projet de loi C5, le projet de loi de bâtir un Canada fort. C'était au sein de la campagne électorale. C'est le projet de loi clé pour le gouvernement. On commence avec ce projet de loi-ci. Et comme j'ai dit, c'est la première étape, cet engagement, c'est des conversations avec les Premières Nations, les Inuits et les Métis, afin de comment on va le faire, avec des projets, des partenariats et des projets qui seront menés par les Premières Nations. Alors, je suis très encouragé par le fait qu'il y a plus de 200 chefs des Premières Nations ici, plus de 50 d'autres chefs qui vont participer dans une manière virtuelle et surtout dans des circonstances très difficiles à travers notre pays à cause des feux forêts. Alors, des questions?
There's been a lot of apprehension. There's been a lot of.
Ask you about you're facing a room full of chiefs who faced other prime ministers who are distrustful, anxious, and in some cases angry. I'd like you to explain what advice you got from Indigenous members of your cabinet and caucus who are here today. What advice did they give you to help establish trust in that room?
Well, I think it's a central question. And I think the first is the advice that we took and the approach that we've taken to this central issue for our country, for First Nations, of how we're going to build prosperity in which all benefit, is first to create the conditions so we can have that conversation. So this is enabling legislation. It doesn't say which projects, it doesn't say how we're going to build them. Second point is the first thing we do is to sit down and discuss exactly that in an open way, to listen. That's always good advice. That's why I'm here. I will say a few words at the start and answer questions at the end, but I'm here to listen, engage, and move forward from that.
Est-ce que c'est les consultations selon les conditions des Premières Nations?
Pour le premier pas.
Prêt à faire les consultations avec les Autochtones selon leurs conditions, selon leurs termes?
Oui, il y aura des termes, des conditions des Premières Nations, ça c'est clair, mais au sein de le projet de loi, il faut avoir des projets. On ne peut pas avoir des projets à l'échelle nationale, le projet de bâtir le Canada. Il faut que chaque projet seront dans des intérêts des peuples autochtones. C'est au sein de la loi. Il y a d'autres aspects de la loi qui décrit la manière d'avoir des consultations, mais l'objectif est d'avoir des projets qui sont dans les intérêts des Premières Nations et qui va qui vont accroître la résilience de notre pays.
How achievable is agreement? How achievable is getting agreement or consensus from First Nations leaders in this room today and who are not in this room about how to move forward with this bill?
Well, again, today is about how to move forward. For example, we are providing $40 million to build out capacity so that during the process of determining what is a nation-building project, which ones do First Nations, do provinces, do the people of Canada want to move forward on, that takes work, that takes capacity in order to do that. How to define the conditions, the question that was just asked, around those projects. Again, you need capacity so that. So how do we take that money, that commitment, and translate that into an ability? First point. Second, well, yes, I do, and I think this is, and that's the purpose of having, the discussion, because this is the first step of a process. And I think there's a very basic point here. Everyone wants to make the country better. Everyone wants better opportunities for their children. Everyone wants more resources for social services, for health, for education, for community services. And the question is about what we're for, which projects help achieve those goals. There's lots of projects that will fall by the wayside because they don't meet conditions, because there is an alignment of interests. But it's about how we establish a process in order to achieve goals.
Est-ce que vous êtes ouvert à des changements, M. Carney, à C5 pour apaiser?
Comme j'ai dit, c'était au sein de campagne électorale, premièrement. C'est absolument clair pendant la campagne électorale. C'est un projet de loi au sein du dernier Parlement. Le projet de loi a reçu une majorité impressionnante, sans précédent dans un sens, le Parti conservateur, le Parti libéral. Alors, et c'est un projet de loi qui crée des conditions de commencer ce processus. Et ce qui est important, c'est le processus. Et le processus commence aujourd'hui. Merci beaucoup. Sorry, fair enough. No, the bill received, first off, it was at the center of the election campaign. We were absolutely clear what we intended to do. Canadians backed that. Secondly, it received overwhelming support in Parliament, moved through the Senate. It is the law. And the key thing is it's enabling legislation. It creates the start of a process. What's important is the process, and the process starts today. The process to identify projects, the process to put conditions on those projects, and then most importantly, and this is what Canadians look for, this is what members of First Nations look for, to build out prosperity in this country. Thank you very much.